the Photography Online podcast in partnership with Kingjoy Tripods.
Coming up in our April podcast, Marcus asks why astronauts have chosen 10-year-old DSLRs to accompany them to the moon this year. James explains why Sigma's latest venture is in farming. And we all try to make sense of Adobe's very expensive payout. Plus, the guys take aim at a 7-in-1 photographer's jacket with 29 places to lose your lens cap and wonder if you need to be Clint Eastwood to use the ultimate lens holder.
And now, please welcome your panellists. A man who, when using a high ISO setting, wears ear defenders to protect himself from the increased noise. It's James McCormick.
What? Who said that?
And a man who failed to see the irony when he forgot his memory card. It's Marcus McAdam.
No, I see it now. The irony, that is.
And here to keep them both in check, a woman I'm told needs no introduction. But I get paid by the word, so please put your hands together for the one, the only, the ever-present, the wonderful, the talented, the amazing, the remarkable, the...
It's just going to keep going, isn't it? Never mind, I'm going to carry on.
Fade him out.
Fade him out, I know, who wants to hear all that stuff? Anyway, welcome to our April podcast. I am Ruth, your host, joined once more by Marcus and James. Now, I got to start off the podcast just by saying this. It is April. Therefore, in the Northern Hemisphere, spring is springing, it's sprunging, and not an hour ago I heard the chimes of an ice cream van. We don't have these usually around here, so it's quite an exciting moment for me.
Do you have ice cream vans down your way, James?
Yeah, in fact, all the time, yeah. I did hear my first cuckoo and my first ice cream van very recently as well.
Yeah. Do you ever run out excitedly and queue up?
No, because you shouldn't run out. There's signs that say on the back of ice cream vans, don't run out in the road. So I make my way very sensibly and queue up nicely.
When you were of a younger version of yourself and you did run out all excitedly, what ice cream did you look forward to getting?
Well, you've got to go classic, haven't you? 99 Flake. But the same question would go to you because you're the eldest of the three of us. So did you have to watch out for the horses in the cart as opposed to the ice cream van?
No, but I remember having this kind of like plastic cup with ice cream and kind of like sauces and what have you layered all the way down, and at the bottom was a gobstopper.
Oh yeah, I do remember those.
And you couldn't get to the gobstopper until you'd eaten all the ice cream.
Yeah, I do remember.
And it was kind of like the reward, and it used to last for ages. So, but you don't see those anymore.
We could riff about that ice cream. Well, because I've just come back to mind. There's one called a Fab, which I really liked. There was also a Rocket.
Yes.
And then there was a Feast.
Oh, well, the Feast has made a return. You can buy those now.
Oh, has it? Oh, there you go. I thought,
that's retro, baby.
I thought Magnum had sort of machine gunned all other, into oblivion, all other ice creams into, it was a Magnum or nothing these days. This probably means absolutely nothing to our listeners from around the world, by the way.
No, and I'm getting very hungry. And there's also, I was just saying earlier to Marcus, there's a gelato van just along the road as well, which has popped up today.
Well, he's come a long way to deliver your ice cream all the way from Italy.
Anyway, it is spring. It's very exciting indeed. But we have got our usual great stuff for the podcast today. We've got our look at some news stories, see what's making the headlines in the photography world. We have got our pop quiz. Marcus won last month, which is quite exciting, so I'm sure he's still riding that high. We're going to be looking, of course, at your comments and stuff as well on the podcast and on the show, as well as looking at some more stuff. There's quite a few interesting bits and pieces, actually. So there we go. That's all coming up on the Photography Online podcast this April. But we're going to start off with the news stories. But just before we get into some new stuff, I wanted to give you an update because you might remember a couple of months ago we mentioned the Immago camera. Now, this got both of the guys extremely excited. It was basically a very, very large walk-in camera where it prints life-size pictures of you. Now, we mentioned at the time that it was up for sale because, unfortunately, the lady who owned it had passed away.
You haven't bought it for us, have you, Ruth?
Thanks, Ruth.
Well, no, I haven't. You guys were going to put a bid in, though, did you not?
We spoke about it.
I probably forgot about it within 30 seconds of recording the podcast. We did talk about it afterwards, actually, didn't we?
It was but
then promptly forgot.
Almost serious about it. But anyway, no, people have bought it. It wasn't these two, unfortunately. It does remain in Germany, but it is now operating again under a new team. The main studio in its original home, so it's still in Berlin. So if you want to go down there, I found out how much it costs, by the way, to get a picture. So €690. for the kind of full length thing. You can actually get half size ones as well, so kind of top half, one assumes.
So is that I thought you walk away with the full? I'd walk away with the 6'5" print of myself.
No, James, you can get the half size one, and I wonder if there's an option to just do the lower half.
Well, that's like when I went to the doctors and they, with my chest pains, and they asked me to strip to the waist, and I didn't realise they meant the top half.
Moving on. Anyway, just in case you're over that way, something else is quite exciting. Now, I don't know if it's going to be leaving Germany or not, but they've actually got another variation that they created. I think they created this a few years ago, but they've got a mobile version of this thing, which is now on tour in Germany. It's a portable, though equally massive version of the camera. It's very arty-farty looking, and you can rent it for your own events. Now, I've not found out how much that costs yet, but the fact that it's on the move, so if you can't make it to Berlin, I mean, it's currently in Kiel, I think, is somewhere in Germany, I believe. I don't know if it'll make it across the water or anywhere else, but anyway, just in case you wanted the update, we did mention it was for sale. Still in Germany. But a fabulous looking thing. Links in the show notes from whatever show that was on. I forget. January, possibly, might have been.
Not a clue.
Can't remember. Not a clue. Anyway, moving on to some more news stories. Marcus is going to start us off with another news story. Marcus, I was going to say something very cheesy, like it's out of this world, but I'll let you...
No, I was just going to say we're off into space for our first story, Ruth. So regular listeners and viewers to Photography Online will probably be familiar with some features that we've done with a guy called Andy Saunders, who remasters all the NASA photos. And last time we had him on the show, he was talking about the Artemis missions, which are the upcoming missions to revisit or take us back to the moon for the first time in 50 years. Now, up until now, all the moon photos have all famously been taken on Hasselblad film cameras, all of which are still up on the moon. Did you know that, James?
I did, because we spoke about it on this podcast, but well remembered.
Okay, so do you think that in the future, any of these Artemis missions, which actually take us back onto the moon, do you think anyone's going to be tempted to pick up a Hasselblad camera that's just lying on the floor? Because imagine...
do you know what? I've often thought that. I mean, I believe they know exactly where they are, right? Because
they'll know exactly where they are, yeah.
But if you went... Because I'm not a space nerd like you, but why would they choose to go? But surely it would make more of a mission to go back to exactly the same place.
Well, there would be a lot of historic value in going to one of the existing lunar landing sites.
But it's a bit, you know, when you go into a car park and there's only 2 spaces, it's really quite easy to park then. You choose one. But if you go into a car park and there's 25 empty spaces, I always get in a bit of a confusion. So I'd imagine if you're going back to the moon and you could go anywhere you wanted, you'd be thinking on approach, I don't know. Oh, where should I land?
Yeah, but if one of those parking spaces has a Hasselblad camera, then you'd be definitely going, I'm going to go and park there and I'm going to pick that bad boy up while I'm there.
Yeah, and then eBay it when I get back.
On a serious note, can you imagine how much money it would be worth back on Earth, that a camera that had been up on the moon for 50 years.
So how many were left there? Do you remember?
I don't know how many there are.
11. I think it was 11.
Because we definitely talked about
like
it.
That.
Yeah, that's a lot. So you could eBay 10 and keep 1.
Wasn't that a quiz question, Ruth?
It was, yes, it was.
Oh, was that where I knew I'd heard it before somewhere? Yeah, there we go.
But anyway, the crew of the Artemis 2 mission, which, as we record this, is racing towards the moon. It has 4 astronauts on board, but it isn't actually going to land on the moon. It's just going to orbit it. Now, that doesn't sound very exciting, and I think it's a practice run for future missions which will land on the moon, although that won't be the next one either, apparently. Now, I just want to cast your mind back to 1969 when Apollo 10 took off from the Earth and orbited the moon as part of a dress rehearsal for the Apollo 11 moon landing.
Yep.
So here we are 57 years later, and we're basically repeating something that was done before any of us were born. I mean, talk about lack of progress. But anyway, I digress, because the essence of this story is that they've decided which cameras they're taking with them, and they're not Hasselblads, okay? Do you know what they are, James? I'll give you a guess.
I do, because I've done a little bit of research. I know it's highly unlike me, but I have actually done a bit of research on this.
Okay, so you will know that they are taking Nikon D5 cameras, which are DSLRs, 20.8 megapixels, launched way back in 2016. So that would probably raise a few eyebrows in terms of, this is NASA, space agency, and they're using cameras that are more than 10 years old rather than modern cameras.
Well, of course, they could buy anything they wanted, and any manufacturer would give them anything they wanted. So
yes.
why this model?
Okay, so there is a reason, and that is because the D5 is well renowned for its low noise performance and high dynamic range, which obviously will come in handy when you're shooting in the vast, contrast of space with like specular highlights and deep shadows. So the D5 has also been shown to handle the effects of radiation very well in tests that NASA have done, something which apparently is an issue once you get out of low orbit. I can't tell you any more than that. But so they're fine to use on the International Space Stations, which is in relatively low orbit.
Do you think before launch, because of this radiation issue, before launch they have to go through like security at TSA, and they'll be like, "Oh no, you can't put my cameras through the X-ray machine"? Which it raises the same question.
Yeah, I know. I mean, that's one of the questions that has always been unanswered about the existing photos of the Apollo moon landings that were taken on film. How come none of the film was affected by this radiation? By the way, I'm not doubting that the moon missions happened, by the way. Yeah. I'm just saying that's never been explained as to why the radiation didn't affect the film.
No, I think we're on the same page there. I think we do believe that they did happen and that they weren't staged in Utah or a shed in Milton Keynes or something. So,
but the D5, do you know what its top ISO setting is?
I do remember it went to something like 250,000 or something, 500,000, something like that.
3.28 million.
Oh, did it?
Yeah,
wow.
It's 3,280,000 ISO. That's an expanded setting, but that's what it can go up to. So that's why I'm guessing they're using this camera, because there's going to be a lot of times when maybe they want to photographing
the dark side of the moon, literally.
Well, no, but they might be wanting to do an interior shot of the spaceship, and they might be in the shadow of the
Just the way you phrased that, I can imagine them sort of putting up some nice flat lighting. This is a good time. We're around the back of the moon now, no direct light. This is perfect. This is absolutely the perfect time to shoot an interior. After all, we'll need to shift this rocket when we get back.
Yeah, so most modern mirrorless cameras will go to about 102,000 ISO. So this is 30 times as much, basically. So again, in 10 years, we haven't really come very far, have we? So we're repeating a mission from 57 years ago, and they're using 10-year-old cameras because they're better than new cameras.
Just very, very quickly, what's the highest ISO you've ever shot anything at? And I think it's probably the Eclipse.
Yeah, probably about 100.
There you go. I think I can push mine to about 800. After that, I get panicked, slightly weak at the knees.
No, I've done Aurora photography probably at 3,200 or maybe 6,400, but it's it doesn't do anything for me. Now, there will be some GoPro cameras as well, both inside and external to the ship, which I think is a Orion spacecraft is what it's called. So we'll no doubt be inundated with boring footage of vast blackness of space with a little dot somewhere that's apparently the Earth. But surprisingly, the astronauts have been allowed to take their personal mobile phones with them as well. So they're going to be taking photos on those and updating their social media pages, because obviously it's very important to do that when you're in space. So, but no, I just thought it was interesting that here we are repeating a space mission from 57 years and going around in circles with old DSLRs.
Yeah, well, I mean, I read a story recently about another one. In fact, it was my camera. I think it's my camera model, the Canon 5D Mark IV, is being pulled from the market, one of the finest DSLRs out there. So they've obviously got some life in them, if only in outer space.
Yeah, and I was expecting we may have touched upon that as a little news story, because actually I believe that them pulling that camera, it really does spell the end of the mirrored cameras in many ways. And pound for pound, that particular model, and I know Nikon and Sony users and others will have their own version, but I think pound for pound, that's probably the best camera ever made. Pound as in pound money, not weight, obviously.
But on the bright side, Ruth, it does mean that the value of your camera, because that's the camera you've got, will go up, because if you can't buy them new anymore, then it increases the value of the second hand.
I've got two. Do you think I could swap them for a Hasselblad from the moon? Maybe if I leave them somewhere outside for a long, long time.
Anyway, there we go. That is the story. Astronauts, 10-year-old DSLRs on the way to the moon, and hopefully there will still be 11 Hasselblads left up there when they... Well, they're not actually landing, are they? They're not landing at all. They're circling. It's a recce mission to see if they can find the Hasselblads, I reckon. Amazing. All right, next story, James. This is something I never thought I would have to say, but a camera manufacturer is doing something a little bit not quite camera related. Tell us all about this news story.
Well, yeah, indeed, because I thought this might have been one of those funny things that you read sometimes. Sigma has started to grow rice. Now, you would immediately think, right, this has got something to do with what you do with it. If you drop your camera in some water or something, you put it in a bag of rice. So maybe it's a way of Sigma weather sealing, but it's
Sigma
not.
Sigma-branded rice.
Yeah, Sigma-branded rice. Although I think, actually, it will be semi-Sigma branded. So Sigma's... always manufactured its I'm presuming it's glass. I don't actually know about the rest of the electronics, but it's glass in a region called, I think, forgive me for my pronunciation, Aizu, which is just to the north of Tokyo. And in that surrounding area, as in many other areas of the world, traditional farming methods and traditional ways of life have been just almost going out of fashion as larger farms and larger corporations and globalization takes over. And it was quite a traditional community in that region once upon a time. And I'm absolutely no expert on Japan. I don't think any of us three here are particularly, but I think that, as I said, globalization and big business moving to regions and then the local traditions and things sort of drifting away is common around the world. So Sigma have decided to do something about it in this region of Aizu, just north of Tokyo. And what they've decided to do is reinstate the paddy fields and grow rice, which has traditionally been cultivated there for many, many years. I believe they're going to start it now-ish, because it actually says the 1st of April. So there we go. So we've got ice cream vans arriving over here, and we've got Sigma replanting paddy fields over in Japan. And then by the end of the year, using traditional methods of growing, there'll be a crop ready for harvesting and milling and distributed to, among others, people that still work in the Sigma factory over there. So, with all a lot of doom and gloom in the world, that's a really fantastic story, I think, and something I hope that other businesses look at and think, well, why not? Not just, photographic related businesses, but all businesses, because it's a pretty good model. And what I really like is it's not just about, empty words and thinking, we've planted 1 million trees when you've actually cut down 10 million to produce something normal nonsense that comes out from big corporations. This is actually about a way of life that Sigma is. It's not just about the rice, it is about the way of life and traditions and things like that. So well done, Sigma.
And presumably, James, because it's Sigma that are growing the rice, it's probably a fine grain rice.
Oh, very good. Look at that.
Jeez.
Look what he's done
you're
there.
wasted, Marcus.
I wondered why you were looking so studious down the other end of this call for a while. You've been coming up with
here for the next hour and a half.
That is very good. I haven't actually seen that written anywhere, so it's all Marcus McAdam, people. But it is interesting, and very fine photographs of tilled fields coming out of Sigma right now. I'm sure we'll be seeing lots of these as they show us what they're going to be doing, but you can check out that story. It is giving back to the community and all that stuff, so have a wee look in the show notes if you want the link to that one. Story number 3, I know the Olympics has kind of been and gone. It's in the past. Winter Olympics been and gone. Paralympics, I think, has been and gone as well. But there was quite a lot of interesting news stories came out around about that, and this one in particular I thought was worth a mention. Marcus, what's a bit different about this?
Yeah, so this is a trio of photographers from Getty Images decided to photograph the Winter Olympics in new ways. So they departed from the norm, and they decided to take on a more arty or experimental side of their photography by using a thermal camera, an infrared camera, and a vintage film camera. So the three photographers are, and James, I'm going to read you their names, and you've got to tell me what nationalities they are. First one is Pauline Ballet.
French.
Correct. The next one is Ryan Pierce.
Well, it depends how you're spelling Ryan and or Pierce. I'm being pedantic.
Well, R-Y-A-N.
I mean, he could be from anywhere. I mean, he's clearly of Anglo-Saxon British descent, probably. But I mean, I don't know.
What a cop out.
Yeah,
all right.
British.
No, Australian,
All right.
mate.
Come on then.
And then Hector Vivas.
Oh, I'll go with something random like Mexican.
Well done. No, when I was writing those out and then writing their nationalities, I was thinking these people, they even sound like they're from these countries.
I actually cheated and I just couldn't remember Ryan, but I have read the article. That's why I knew.
So the last time the Winter Olympics was held in Cortina was in 1956. So that was the reason why the Graflex camera was chosen, because it was a camera of that era.
So that's the old camera, as it were. That's the vintage camera.
Correct. Now, Graflex made a wide range of cameras, and it didn't actually say which specific model this was, but presumably one that was in production in 1956. So they just thought they would capture it, in the way that it would have been captured 70 years ago. Now, the infrared converted mirrorless camera was used to capture events in a way which can't be seen by the human eye, obviously. And then the thermal camera was used to show the stark contrast between the heat of the athletes and the crowds against the snow and the ice, which I think was, quite novel there. Now, the trio also used multiple exposures on fixed cameras to illustrate the movement and drama of an event, and then combined all of those into a single image. And I have seen some examples of those, and they look absolutely horrendous.
I couldn't agree more.
I couldn't absolutely hideous.
I mean, congratulations to the 8-year-old who put that together in Photoshop.
Yes, it just looks like a complete car crash of a photo, doesn't it? But anyway, a couple of directors from the sports department at Getty spoke to somebody at Petapixel about the concept of this thing. Now, bearing in mind that we're talking about a thermal camera, an infrared camera, and blending multiple exposures together here, one of them was quoted by saying that the trio's expertise and experience made sure they were in the right place, creating faithful capture quite naturally.
Well, they failed.
Now, does that make any sense to you whatsoever? Because infrared and thermal cameras do exactly the opposite of what he's just said, and then putting a montage together of lots of ice dancers all crashing into each other on an ice rink is exactly the opposite of a faithful capture and looking quite natural. So I'm a bit confused about that. Now, they did agree that the biggest success out of the three cameras was the Graflex camera, presumably because it was the only one which rendered scenes actually faithfully and naturally. Although at least one of the examples shown from the camera was taken with a phone. So it kind of defeats the object, really. So they'd used the Graflex camera, but I'm thinking, God, there's a really horrendous vignetting going on there. And it's because I'm assuming they just held the phone up to the ground glass.
Yeah, I'm looking at it right now, and it's exactly what they've done.
Yeah. And you just think, why would you go to the trouble of using a vintage camera and then fall over at the last hurdle, like the way I used the sports kind of analogy there? So
what you're going to have to do here, Marcus, is give me a quick heads up when you've finished your mini rant about this, because I've got one to go on as well.
Okay. Now, I was looking through the article. I'm nearly finished. This is my last point about this, James. I was looking through the article and I'm going down and I'm thinking, well, that picture's useless. That picture's rubbish. That picture's rubbish. Oh, that picture's quite good. The picture that was quite good was actually one from the 1956 Olympics. That was the best picture.
This is exactly what I was going to say. It's the ice skater.
Yes.
It's by far and away. I've got it on my screen here, and that was going to be my point, that I've been through all of these pictures, but the one that stood out, and I flicked through it on my phone first, before getting it on a computer, when Ruth sent me through the notes for the show, and it immediately leapt out. Not just a little bit better. It is by far and away the most atmospheric, the best executed, tells the best story, and it is simple. So for those that are listening to this, go to the notes and have a look. And I bet you that picture stands out to you. And if it doesn't, something else does. Well, let us know and let your doctor know, because there'll be something wrong with you.
There's a theme developing here, guys, that, 70 years on, we're going backwards. So we've done it with NASA, we've done it with the DSLR, and now we're doing it with Olympic photos.
All right, we've covered this. But look, the point is, back in the Olympics, the Cortina days, back when they were there 70 years ago, whatever it was, all the professionals would have been using these cameras. They've been using all their creative skills, and that shot you said of the ice skater is fantastic. The people doing it now were doing it as a novelty. They were doing it to kind of be something a bit different. It doesn't really matter what they took. The whole idea was, look, guys, here's something a bit different. So they are rubbish in general, but I think that was the point of it. But there are some good, I quite like some of the IR images, because obviously they're shooting in the snow.
Yes.
You're going to get some semi-decent shots there. There's some really interesting ones.
No, I do agree with you, Ruth, and you have to applaud people trying to be different and doing something different. And
I think as well, Marcus, you have to applaud Getty for spending the money on it as well, because they didn't have to do this.
No, I do applaud that. But in order to make it a success, the results have to be good. And in a lot of the cases, they're not good here. I mean, I could say, well, I'm going to photograph the next Olympics with a lens cap on just to be different. It wouldn't be a success because the photos wouldn't be good.
I just don't think it was thought through enough, i.e. what to do. I believe each person had one of each kind of camera with them or something. Is that right? Or I might have misunderstood that. But it's kind of irrelevant, really. I don't believe that they applied the right, IR or whatever it is, image sensing to the right subject matter in many ways. And they were trying to be too clever for the sake of it. That's the point.
Yeah, the thermal photos are interesting. The IR, the infrared photos, Ruth, some of them are quite interesting. The multiple exposure ones, the blended ones, are absolutely horrendous, and they should be deleted from the archives of humanity.
All right, well, check them out for yourselves. See if you have strong opinions like Marcus and James, or you think they're just a little bit interesting, which I think was the point they were trying to make for people that weren't born 70 years ago, showing them what could be done. You never know, next Olympics, maybe there'll be a whole swathe of people with film cameras doing it a bit differently. But check that out. Show notes, got all the links you want in there. Story number 4 has got to be done, much as I dislike talking about Adobe and all things Adobe, but this is one I think James is going to be quite happy to talk about. What's happened, James?
Well, I'm with you in the same camp as you, but I would say, talking about Adobe, there's a neat little segue here, because those images that we were just talking about, the multiple exposure ones, although they are multiple exposures in theory and weren't put together in Photoshop, you could have easily done it with a piece of Adobe software. And the Department of Justice in America has just settled a lawsuit with Adobe for $150 million, and they should probably double that if Adobe's got anything to do with those dreadful pictures we were just talking about. But the DOJ in America took Adobe to the courts for unfair practices to do with how easy or hard it is to cancel your subscription to Photoshop, Lightroom, and maybe other programs as well, I think. But the upshot was that Adobe said they've done nothing wrong, but have settled anyway for $75 million worth of fines that go to the Department of Justice in America, and $75 million is going to be given away in some form of free software to those people that have been affected.
Free software? Really?
Yes.
That's what they're getting?
And who those people are and how they are going to be identified and notified or qualify is still up for discussion, I believe. But in the end, Adobe hasn't had a great run over recent times. So
it's all their own doing, though.
It is entirely their own doing. I couldn't agree more. But they're not alone in these slightly sly and shady practices of making it very difficult to unsubscribe from all sorts of different things. As I said, many companies do this. So in the end, for us photographers and those of us that kind of have to use their software, I just hope it's a bit of a wake-up call, and I hope they go on a bit more of a mission to become a slightly more consumer-friendly company, really. Yeah. And other than that, I can't really be bothered to go into the finer details of what the Department of Justice has to say.
Now, James, there'll be people listening to this who just heard you say, for people who have to use their software, and they'll be going, well, no one has to use their software. But
true.
Which is true, but I agree with you, because I'm in a situation where I'm so invested in various Adobe products that if I were to ever change, I would be throwing away 5 years of video archives that I've, sweated blood, sweat and tears over. And you just think, okay, so I can go over to another system and stop paying Adobe extortionate amounts of money every month, which I'd love to do, but I can't because I'd just be cutting off my nose to spite my face. And so I'm stuck, basically. The only way I can ever get out is to either stop working or die.
I've got an idea. No, we won't go there. I think, you're completely right. There's free versions of editing software out there, and your camera will come bundled often with some form of editing software out there. But as you rightly point out, 99% of the people listening to this show are probably Lightroom users, I would imagine. Maybe not quite that number, but certainly 90%. And once you've got your library built and it's working and everything's stable in Lightroom, the last thing you want to do is migrate it to another software. So you're 100% correct. They've got a monopoly on it. They've got a monopoly on you. But in general, I don't have a problem with Adobe products, but I have a problem with their, tricking people or making it very difficult for people to find an unsubscribe button or tying them in. Or in my case, they don't give ever. I don't know if it's something I've set up or not, so I can't directly accuse Adobe of this, but it seems to auto-renew without telling me about any price increases or anything. So I, that might be something that's me. I don't know. Maybe I haven't ticked the right box somewhere.
No, I can second that. I never get any messages from them whatsoever, and you just see that your price has gone up, and you think, well, hang on, where did I agree to that?
Well, who the heck knows? So in the end, Ruth, I guess with this combined 75 million in free software. That means it's free to Adobe, so that's just despicable.
I find it interesting that people that were frustrated enough to sue Adobe, frustrated enough with their product and what they'd done to them, to obviously want to get away from them and sue them, they're now being told they've got to have free software from them. Is that a punishment or is that a reward?
Yeah, some people would describe that as a punishment.
Imagine me ringing you up, James, and say, I've got some good news. You've won 75 million in software. in a lawsuit. It's like, oh.
And guess who it's by? Yeah. Anyway, Adobe's cancelled $150 million, half to the people, as it were, in software, and half to the government. I didn't realise that's quite how it works. But again, if you're interested, check that out. If your name was on part of the lawsuit, maybe you're going to get some free software coming your way. Final story, though, for this month. A little bit local to the UK, at least. And at first glance, not entirely photography linked, but there's always a link. Marcus, what's this all about?
Yep, so this is the opening of the world's longest coastal path, which was opened last month by King Charles III, no less. It basically follows the shoreline of England, and that means it's 2,689 miles. It joins up existing paths, which have existed for a long time. So, I've even as a kid, I remember walking the southwest coast path, which goes round your neck of the woods, James, around the southwest of England. And there were other coastal paths as well. But basically, for the last 18 years, they've been investing lots of money in joining all of these existing paths up, and they've added another 1,000 miles of paths to join all the existing ones up. And now it's possible to walk the entire shoreline of England all on one path. Now, you might be thinking, well, what happens to Wales and Scotland then? Well, Wales already has a coastal path that's 870 miles, and that's been in place since 2012. And this path joins up to that path. So what I'm unsure about is whether that 2,869 miles includes the Wales bit or not. I don't think it does. But if they're saying that this is the world's longest path, then why not just add another 870 miles to it? Because then it's even longer than the world's longest path, right? Now, that brings us on to Scotland. Scotland is another beast altogether, because the Scottish coastline has been estimated to be 5,500 miles just by itself. So it would dwarf, or almost be double what the existing coastal path of England and Wales is. But there is talk about it. although it's only talk. Some of it exists anyway, but I think logistically it would cause a bit of a nightmare because there's some very, very remote areas in Scotland which would be very difficult to put, facilities in, shall we say, to make it a managed path, because that's what this is. It's a managed path. If you were going to run it all around Scotland, it would be great, because then you'd be able to walk the entire circumference or shoreline of the mainland of Great Britain. But it's whether you include all the islands or not. So if you didn't include the islands, you'd get to the Skye Bridge and you'd be thinking, well, I can't go over there. I've got to carry on down to, Cardiff Loch Oush now. And you'd miss out one of the best parts of Scotland, clearly. So, that's something to be seen for the future. But if in the future they do continue it round Scotland, which they may well do, the path would be over 9,000 miles long. When you think about how small the UK is on the map, okay, 9,000 miles is the same distance as from England to Australia. How's that? Get your head around that.
Wow.
Now, although this, like Ruth said, it has nothing to do directly with photography, it does make it easier for photographers to access the entire coastline of England now, which can only be a good thing. And also, as a result, there's been new rights of access that have been opened, including beaches, sand dunes and cliff tops, which lie between the path and the sea. And these are areas which you couldn't actually access before, but now the path's in place, you can go and access these things. So there's lots of places where photographers wouldn't have been able to stand and take a photo, and they now can do so. So this is really good for photographers in the UK, and it brings us on to the fact that I think probably more photos are taken along coastline than any other landscape. Would you agree on that, James?
If you're setting out to do for a day's hobbying, photographying or whatever, it has to be the coast. That's where most people would head for sure.
Yeah. Now, accessibility has also been improved to allow those with mobility limitations to enjoy more areas. Now, obviously,
we've got elevators down cliffs again.
Yeah. No, if you're in a wheelchair, you're not going to be able to, go and wheel yourself around the circumference of the UK. But there's more sections that have basically been made that are accessible. So, you'll be able to get to more locations. However, there is one section which is tricky for all abilities, a section which crosses the River in Devon. Do you know that area, James?
I know where the River is. Yeah, I don't know why that would be.
So when you get to the River and you're on the coastal path,
is that what it's called? Or did someone just ask someone one day and he went, someone went,
what should we name this river? And then someone went, that will do it. I have to accept your first answer. So when you get to the River it's spelled E-R-M-E, Ruth. Mm-hmm.
Oh, sorry, it's your accent.
Okay. There's no bridge and there's no ferry. So the obvious thing would be to think, okay, well, I'm going to walk up and round, but you can't do that because that takes you onto private land and you don't have access to it. So the only way to do it is to wait for low tide, take your trousers off, or if you're listening in North America, take your pants off, which is even more.
And if you're listening in the UK, don't take your pants off.
And you have to wade across at low tide.
So this is the big thing, is the fact, obviously in Scotland we have right to roam, we can kind of go anywhere. In England, you have to stick to the designated path. So the fact they've made this coastal path means you can legitimately and legally walk around the entirety of the coast in England. I didn't quite twig until you mentioned that.
Yes, correct.
And if you want to get to the you have to axe your ex via the Otter. They're all rivers in Devon.
Yes, thank you.
Okay.
So, but, I think that this, there will be plenty of people that walk the entire length of this path, okay?
Yeah.
It would take months if you did it non-stop, but some people will spread it over many years and they'll just do it in sections during the summer months or something. But it would be a great project to photograph it, and
off you go.
Yeah.
And when you get to Devon, you'd want to dart across a certain bit as well, Ruth. That's another river reference.
There's a lot of in-jokes.
The only thing I would say, moving away from river jokes, because, it would run dry on those, is have a look at this picture, Ruth. Can you see and it'll be in the show notes, it's on the BBC website, of His Majesty King Charles III standing on a particular spot on this coastal path. Now, another great Titanic battle took place on that exact spot. And I know Marcus knows exactly what it is. Because
I haven't seen the photo, but I know what you're talking about.
It is exactly the spot where Marcus asked me to take my jumper off for a picture, and I got bad-tempered and shouted at him, and he shouted back. And the poor passerby, who was holding a camera that we were asking, shuffled off in embarrassment. So it was the last great place for huge row between Marcus and myself.
So that's the reason Marcus doesn't have the photograph, because the photograph was not actually taken. I think that was at my request or behest, but I never received it. Anyway, we'll leave it there. It is cool. I mean, and like you say, in terms of a project or something to go and walk, I love that the UK has got so much like this. So you can actually just spend a long time walking as far as you like. Check it out. It's in the show notes. Links to all of our other stories are in there as well. But we're going to leave the news stories behind and move on.
The Photography Online podcast in partnership with King Joy Tripods.
Yeah, big thank you to King Joy for supporting us again this year. Every month we are playing a clip of one of the team using a King Joy tripod somewhere in the world, and from the clues they provide, you can try and work out where they are and what they're taking a photo of. Now, we've done 3 of these so far. Last month, James was on the island of Burano near Venice. This month, though, it is Marcus's turn.
Good evening, Ruth. Now, I say evening because it's just getting dark here where I am, but it will be a lot earlier in the day where you are in Scotland. Now, I've come to an elevated viewpoint overlooking one of the world's busiest cities. You might be able to hear the distant hum from the busy streets below me, but where I am now is remarkably quiet because only a few locals know about it, so shh. Now, before I give you any more clues as to my whereabouts, let me tell you which tripod I'm using, as it's quite exciting and a little bit novel. You see, having been to this location before, I knew I had to get the camera high enough to see over the dense foliage which is in my foreground just below me. So I'm using the King Joy C86 XT. Now, the XT stands for extra tall. The C86 is their beefiest model, so this is an extra tall version of an already beefy model. So we're not mucking about here. The result is that my camera is now positioned very sturdily over 2 meters above the ground. Now, this poses a problem even for someone quite tall like myself, and that's seeing through the viewfinder. Unfortunately, I don't have one of those flippy flappy screens because I'm shooting film, of course, so I have to physically look through the viewfinder to compose and to focus. So I've conveniently positioned myself so I can stand on the back of a bench and get the height that I need to look through the camera. Okay, so let me give you a couple more clues as to where I am. I'm looking down onto an immense natural harbour, and the most popular method to get up to the top of the hill where I'm standing now is by tram, for which you would pay for the ticket in dollars. Now, the name of the hill I'm standing on is very British sounding. However, I'm a very long way from Britain. But where in the world am I?
Well, James could tell you, I've never seen anyone look so excited midway through Marcus's talk.
I know as well.
His face just lit up. Do you know as well, Marcus?
Yeah. Can I say where it is?
No, you cannot. Marcus is going to come back later on.
You can say towards the end, James, when we reveal the answer.
He's going to burst all the way through, I can tell. But no, Marcus is going to be back later on in the show. He'll tell us where he is, and you can see the image that he's taken as well by clicking the link in the show notes. If you want to know what's available on the King Joy Professional lineup, do check out the Photography Online shop if you are in the UK, or go to kingjoy.com for international sales or to find out your nearest dealer. All right, well, it's time for
The Photography Online podcast quiz.
Yes, it is back. Welcome back to the pop quiz. That is the Photography Online podcast quiz, where I ask our James. I don't know why I'm calling you our James.
You've just moved to Yorkshire suddenly, Ruth.
It's just our James and our Marcus. Some photography related questions. You guys can, of course, play along as well. We will reveal the answers at the end. Here's how it works. 5 rounds, each one worth a point for the correct or sometimes the closest answer. In the event of a tie, you both receive the point. Now, last month, Marcus won on a bonus point, so I'm sure they have both been researching photography trivia all month long, but let's play.
Round 1. Photography trivia.
All right, bits of paper at the ready, chaps.
Yep.
Yes and yes. All right, here we go. Here's the question, photography trivia. In the early 2000s, Nikon stopped using the terms master and slaves in relation to their flash guns due to the negative connotations. What word replaced the term master for the controlling flash unit?
Ooh.
I didn't actually know that was a thing, but that's quite a good another thing a camera manufacturer's done that's a good thing. I didn't know that.
So it's only Nikon that have done this.
Nikon did it first. Canon did it a number of years ago, but no, Nikon were the first people to do it. Early 2000s, so about 25 years ago.
Okay, so they're not called masters and slaves.
Not anymore.
They're called something else, and that's the answer that you're looking for.
That is the answer that I'm using. What is the master now referred to as in all Nikon's paraphernalia?
So we're looking for two words.
No,
we're looking for one word
just to replace the master.
I was going to say. Oh, right, okay.
Yes.
Well, in our particular world, it's Ruth.
Yes. Well, you never know. Right, you both got something. Yes, for sure. James?
Yeah. I've written down a word.
Okay. All right.
Round 2. Multiple choice.
All right, well, in this round, I give a question which is quite difficult, and so to help you out, there are 4 possible answers I need you to do, is tell me which one you think is correct. And I do apologise for the ongoing theme here, but it is interesting. So, the famous Instagram egg, posted in 2019, became the most liked post ever, with around 55 million likes. Which celebrity later overtook it? A. Cristiano Ronaldo. B. Kylie Jenner, of Kardashian fame, to help you out, chaps.
Yeah, who's that?
C. Lionel Messi, or D. Selena Gomez.
Right, I've heard of 2 of them. Two and a half.
What's the egg? What's that all about?
We talked about that as well. I remember that.
We've already talked about this. It's like a hard-boiled egg, which somebody posted up just to kind of get a point across that people will like anything on Instagram.
I see.
And it was the most liked thing ever. Posted in 2019, but it was superseded by another image later on, and I'm asking which of these celebrities
so the image that superseded it's got nothing to do with the egg. It just means it's more popular.
No,
right? Okay,
it's more popular than. So
it's not Cristiano Ronaldo holding an egg.
I mean, you never know, but Cristiano Ronaldo, Kylie Jenner, who's a Kardashian person, Lionel Messi, or Selena Gomez, who.
Okay.
I'm not going to give you any more clues.
Yep. All right. Well, that's 25% chance of getting it right, basically.
This is true. Although James looks like he's going to try and do a scientific attack on this one.
Well, I think I've eliminated one, so I've got a 33.
Yeah, no, so I've eliminated one, and I've heard of another one who is a very small pop star, I believe, and there's 2 footballers.
Yeah.
All right, you both got something?
Yes.
Yes, all right.
Round 3. Name the year.
Okay, in this round, the answer to the question is a year. The round goes to whoever gets the closest answer. If either of you gives me the exact year, you get a bonus point, which is what Marcus managed to do last month. Here's the question.
And the month before, Ruth. Let's not forget that. Done it
really?
twice.
Really?
Yeah, done it twice in a row. So this will be a hat trick.
Have you?
Oh, wow. Yeah. Okay, so this could be something new. Here's the question. In what year did Canon first introduce white colouring on its SLR camera lenses?
Ooh, on its SLR. Okay. What do you mean white colouring? Do you mean when it says Canon it's written?
The long
the white lenses.
Oh, white lenses. Oh.
Yes.
Oh.
Yeah. Okay.
Oh, Canon, though. I think that was when they... Oh, I know. I think I might know that. Yes, I know why as well, I think.
Okay.
But
Going after a half point, are you?
There's no extra points for getting 3 in a row, by the way, for him. Just pointing that out.
Okay, I've got my year, but it's a guess. I don't know it. It's an intelligent guess.
Okay, well that's all right.
I've used my intelligence, Ruth, so that's it. Can't rely on that anymore. Used it all up.
James.
All right.
4, 3.
Yes,
2,
done it.
And the scribble of a pencil.
Round 4. Artificial intelligence.
Artificial intelligence, everyone's favourite round. I asked ChatGPT to describe a photographic object, person, or practice without mentioning the name of the subject. All I need you to do is tell me what I asked it to talk about, and I will, just in case you get a fright, there's a new bloke voicing this. We've lost our original lady, so here's a new chap. See if you can make him out.
Light refuses to settle. It fractures into brilliance and shadow, never offering itself all at once. So the moment is gathered in pieces and later quietly reassembled, until nothing is missing. Some say it reveals truth. Others say it creates something else entirely.
I've got it. I'm confident.
Ooh.
Yeah, I think I do as well.
Yeah.
I think
Oh,
that's
wow,
one of the
okay.
easier ones we've ever had, I think.
It is possible. I'm kind of running out of ideas. And
I can give you some ideas.
it's not useful though, is it, really, James? It's like when Marcus gave me a list of questions for the quiz last year. I was like, I can't use any of these.
Suddenly it's all becoming clear while he's been getting all the answers right.
No, definitely have not been using that. But some people have been sending them in, for which I'm grateful. Please keep doing that if you've got any ideas. Let's move on to our final round, though.
Round 5. Take a wild guess.
All right, well, as the name suggests, this round requires an answer which could be almost anything, so you are unable to get it exact. You will need to take a wild guess. As with round 2, point goes to whoever gets closest to the answer, although unlikely if you do get the exact one. There are 2 bonus points. Nobody has yet done this. Here is the question. How many pictures does the latest Sony A7V, or A7 V, however you say it, claim it can take before the battery dies?
I don't know, 4? Well, that's a bit of a...
Yes.
Is this what the manufacturer says? It depends how you use
It's what the No, it's what the manufacturer says. Well, if you like, I mean, okay, I'm going for going for maximum. So let's base this on the LCD monitor and not on the viewfinder.
Okay, and what's the ambient temperature?
Yes, and also, are you rapid firing? So is the buffering involved?
And it
all you need to know is it's not what it can take. It's what Sony says.
Is there
take.
image stabilization enabled?
That is the question. Just
okay, right. So look, take a wild guess. Okay, so it's going to be.
It's a Sony claim
Yes.
as opposed to what they say.
So think of
Yeah,
a
so it's
number
gonna
that
be
Sony
wildly
would
inaccurate.
write and then halve it, probably. By the way, that would apply to all camera manufacturers equally.
This is true.
Okay,
I'm just trying to think what I get out of one of mine.
okay. I've got my answer.
I should have nicked one of these sand timers from the
for
last
goodness
trip
sake.
we did. Mind you couldn't hear that on a podcast.
I've got one downstairs, an old-fashioned egg timer. Would you like it? Hourglass thing.
Oh, I would actually. Yeah. Does it make a noise when the grains of are they fine
They are
grains of
fine.
sand?
You'd have to
James?
listen very
Or are they
closely to
coarse?
hear it. You'd hear a pin drop before.
That'll be the second hourglass Ruth possesses, then, James. The other one being her
what's
figure.
the first? Oh, that'll get edited out.
I missed that
No,
entirely.
just keep that in then.
What did you say?
Moving on.
I completely missed what you said. Always a good idea. Right, let's go back over our questions. Round 1 was photography trivia. In the early 2000s, Nikon stopped using the terms master and slave. What word replaced the term master for the controlling flash unit? I can see all yours, Marcus. Got to stop doing that.
No, look, I'm there. Look, because James has
Yeah,
already
I've
said
written down the same thing.
trigger.
Okay, you're both wrong.
Oh,
The term
that can't be wrong.
The term that they use is commander.
That's just not
The commander
not a thing.
unit. The commander unit and the remote unit.
It's a trigger.
According to Nikon's instructions and all that stuff, that's what they refer to it as.
Rubbish.
So rather than master and slaves,
Absolute rubbish.
commander and remote
I
units.
think we should
So
have a point each there, Marcus, because it's 100% a trigger. It triggers the slave unit.
It does-
The question was what Nikon refers to it as.
James, it's irrelevant whether we both get a point or neither of us get a
I
point.
know. I
because-
was actually pretending to be Trigger from Only Fools and Horses there.
I see. Right, yeah. With his broom handle. Yeah.
Yep.
Okay, there's far too many in-jokes on this podcast. Anyway, round 2 was multiple choice, and I asked you to let me know which celebrity superseded the famous Instagram egg, which was the most liked post ever on Instagram. It had 55 million likes at the time. So A, Cristiano Ronaldo, B, Kylie Jenner, who is a Kardashian person. I feel like I have to keep saying that because not everyone in the UK knows that, including me. Lionel Messi was C, D was Selena Gomez. Chaps, Marcus, let's go for you first.
Yeah, you see, okay, so I've gone with A, Cristiano Ronaldo. However, my thought process here was that Cristiano Ronaldo probably isn't very well known in North America. or maybe large parts of Asia, which make up, a lot of population.
He's definitely known in Asia because I know he overtook Beckham.
Well, no, but large parts of Asia. I mean, India's not a big football nation, and that's it's the most populous country now. So I was just thinking, well, is Selena Gomez big in India?
Well, it's funny you went down that road. I went for Lionel Messi because he is well known in America because he plays for David Beckham's team in America.
Yeah,
so that's the only reason I went for him. Otherwise, I've not a clue. I don't know who Selena... All I know about Selena Gomez is I think she can sit very nicely in the palm of your hand. She's very small, petite.
Selena Gomez was the most liked account on Instagram.
Oh, damn it.
She's got the most followers on Instagram. But she's not the winner here. The winner was Lionel Messi.
Oh, no.
2022.
It's all about knowledge.
After Argentina's World Cup victory, Messi's celebration post surged past the egg, eventually exceeding 75 million likes and becoming the new record holder. So there we go. Congratulations, James, on knowing some random trivia. Round 3 was Name the Year. In what year did Canon first introduce the white colouring on its SLR camera lenses? I'm looking for a year. I'm going to go for James. What do you reckon, James?
Well...
And give me the answer before you give me your reasoning, please.
1977. And the reason is simply that I think there was some...
Wait. Marcus might change his mind.
I've got it written down, Ruth. I can't change my mind.
True.
Yeah, I think there was some kind of... Something happened between Nikon and Canon that year, and they just wanted to be different, maybe, I think.
What in 1977?
Yeah, I can't remember. They brought out something, I think.
But why 1977?
Well, I had to pick a year, and it was in the middle of the 70s from my knowledge. I mean, if I knew the answer,
right.
Okay. Something happened.
Marcus?
Okay, so I went 1980 because I just assumed that it would be an Olympic year.
Oh, that's clever.
Yeah.
Yeah, that is clever. Manufacturers do big things.
And I think I could be wrong here, but I think the Los Angeles Olympics was 1980.
The boycotted one. Yes.
Okay, so Marcus's reasoning was correct, but James's answer was closest. 1976.
What Olympics was that?
I don't know. 4 years before the one you were thinking of.
Yeah, but nobody knows about that.
So the concept actually began back in 1960 with broadcast lenses, but 1976 marked the first use in SLR. They use white for obvious reasons. It reflects sunlight, helps with the heat in the lens, but they use an off-white, not a pure white, because that could reflect too much light and distract other photographers. And there's actually a huge article all about it, which is surprisingly interesting, on all the reasons behind the white on Canon's official website. So point goes to James on that one, 1 year out, but it's a shame because Marcus had a...
Well, what was the... Oh, yeah, you said 4 years earlier than 1980. So even with my genius maths, I can work out 1976.
There you go. Well done, James. Number 4, artificial intelligence. Do I even need to ask you, what were your thoughts on what I was asking you to talk about?
I think we've both...
Well, it would have been in fashion about 10 years ago.
Yeah.
5 years ago.
No, more than that. 15 years. HDR.
Yeah, that's what I've written as well, yeah.
Yeah, well done. All right, HDR it was. And what did you think of the new chap reading it?
Well, I like to be bossed about by ladies rather than gentlemen, so...
Okay, I'll get a lady back on next time. Okay, round 5, take a wild guess. How many pictures does the latest Sony A7 IV claim it can take before the battery dies? And we're going for the LCD monitor, which will be the highest level.
Would it? Yeah, I suppose it would, I don't know.
Yes, because mirrorless viewfinder, maybe it takes more energy, I don't know. Because it's not an SLR, is it? Let's go for the confused looking face up there.
Oh, I might have made a bit of a boo-boo here. I don't think I listened to the question.
Well, I've gone 6,520.
Well,
okay.
One of it. Is this the nearest to the pin?
This is the nearest one it's going to be, yeah.
Well, I've written divide that by 10. So I've written 700. So I think I've made a bit of a catastrophic error here. I don't think I was listening to the question. You said a mirrored camera, did you?
No, I didn't say mirrored. I just said Sony A7 IV, the latest.
No, that would be a mirrorless then.
That's a mirrorless.
Sony doesn't make mirrored. Sony only makes mirrorless.
I misunderstood you a second. Anyway.
Lots of misunderstandings. Anyway, despite the misunderstandings, James has won. It's 750. That's how many images they claim they can take before the battery passes away, as we say nowadays.
Nothing. I mean,
that's what I thought. So
it's a mirrorless camera. It's on one battery. What do you expect? I mean, that's what they claim. They claim it takes 630 through the viewfinder, which must take more energy somehow. But 750. So I don't know why James is looking so annoyed, because he has won.
Oh no! I'm annoyed because I actually did my maths the wrong way round there and got away with it. But I mean, 7,000 was a ridiculous answer. So I was going to think of a number that I roughly get out of my camera and double it, and I forgot to double it because the manufacturers...
Okay, so what is the number you would roughly get out of your... Is this your new mirrorless camera?
It is, and indeed any of the mirrored cameras or mirrorless, it's about 700 or something. I mean, it depends how you use it on an average temperature day, but I was then going to double it and forgot to double it, so I'm glad I did.
Okay, so extremely flawed logic, which works
that's me,
out
flawed
for your
and full of logic.
Gain. But there we go, James has won 4-1. Let us know.
And this is aggregate, isn't it?
Well, apparently these days. I had my little spreadsheet open earlier on. I haven't actually done the fine calculations yet. But so far this year, it's 3-1 to James. But it could all change. We're only partway through the year. It's only spring. We're just entering into our second quarter. So do let us know how you guys got on as well. If you got higher than James, do let us know what score you got. If you'd like to submit any questions, like I said, for any of the rounds, please do. It would really help me out. Send them on in to the usual address, podcast@mc2photography.com.
Listeners from an unlikely location.
All right, well, we do like to say hello to people from unlikely locations. We have done a few likelier locations in the last little while, but I thought I would do some African countries, top African country listening last month. Anyone care to guess, actually, chaps?
It's got to be South Africa, surely.
James, any ideas?
I'll go with English-speaking, huge population, Nigeria.
No, it's Botswana, in fact.
Oh, that's because Harry's there.
So hello. That's probably what he's got on repeats. Botswana, Dumela, is that correct? Dumela, I believe. Dumela is the greeting in Botswana, so hello to whoever's listening over there. Followed closely, though, by Nigeria, James.
Oh, there you go.
So congratulations on that. And Tanzania is the third top listening country in Africa. One person is listening in Qatar. So Murhaban to you, and also we didn't mention that. I don't know if you were, well, maybe some of you are some of our poos and you listen to our live show, but Marcus, not long back, flying through the Middle East, didn't manage to stop the war on his way through, but he got back, which is it good? Is it bad? Who knows? He's here with us anyway, so there is somebody listening over in Qatar. It's not Marcus, obviously. Unless, Marcus, did you come through Qatar?
No, I came through the United Arab Emirates, but I didn't listen to the podcast when I was in transit.
See, if you had done, you could have done. I wonder how that would have worked. If you listened on the plane, over every country, we might have had a new. You could have traced your routes all the way across. But anyway, wherever you're listening, always so welcome. Do get in touch. Let us know where you're listening to us from. Leave a comment on whatever your platform you're listening on, or pop us an email. And thank you for your comment on last month's podcast. Raymond saying big shout out for Flickr. He loved that. This was last month's story, or was it a quiz for the story? It was a quiz question actually. Last month we were asking something around Flickr, and these chaps didn't realise Flickr was still active in photographer worlds, but it is. So big shout out. Bob about 256. Now James, as is your way, you've I know you're usually the not upsetting people one, but it's kind of turning ever so slightly.
He's learning from
so
me.
You've upset Bob. I'm realising that. It's only taken about 40 years to kind of get on him. But Bob says, your comments came across last month. It's very condescending. Only the club members can photograph wildlife, apparently. Some of us just take photos for our own enjoyment, whether you want to believe it or not. Sure, I've seen bad behaviour and called it out. No offence intended, but plenty taken from you self-righteous pros. So,
excellent.
I think it's pros plural, so he's obviously taken it from, let's say, Marcus as well, just to try and half.
So how do you say re-listen and get your facts straight without sounding condescending? Because that's not what I said at all.
Well, what you do, James, is you put an exclamation mark after it.
Or 2 or 3.
Yeah.
This was obviously based on the story we did last month around wildlife photographers harassing wildlife. And James, was, in my opinion, kind of being quite balanced and saying, behave yourselves. But also you did kind of go a wee bit, don't do it unless you're a world expert. So maybe some of the non-world experts.
But I did. What I didn't say is don't do it unless you're a member of a camera club.
Are we sure?
Pretty sure.
Okay.
And anyway, I wouldn't say don't do it unless you're an expert. I'd rather people just did it quickly and moved on, which was pretty much what I said. Don't keep revisiting.
It's all about how people hear things.
But if I was condescending, then, well, I'm pleased, Bob.
I was going to apologise. I don't even know if I should go down this route. Anyway.
No, I'm not going to apologise for that because I will, if Bob's upset, of course I'll apologise to Bob for being upset, but I'm not going to apologise for what I said because I didn't actually say that.
Okay, right. Well, thank you for getting in touch anyway, Bob and Raymond. A few comments on the YouTube show which went out last month. This was on the Buying and Selling Challenge. Tysonator, I like his handle, Tysonator5433. So this is a very difficult challenge as one needs to be very experienced in cameras, old tech and minor repairs. Think of this as a used car dealer taking in an old car, putting an MOT on it, servicing it, valeting it, washing and polishing it, wet tyre gel as well. Blimey, Mark, you said you go this far, and you now have a good looking car. Now this is obviously Tyson assuming that you're going to be buying old cameras, doing them up and selling them, which isn't necessarily what you might be doing going forward. I don't know what your plan is, but it is what you did for the first one.
Well, it wasn't what I did anyway because I didn't even clean that camera. I had to do nothing to it. The only thing I did was just check that it worked, and the way I checked it was run a roll of film through it. But I could have done it without running a roll of film through it. But it wouldn't have made the YouTube feature very exciting, would it? Of me just checking the camera by eye and going, yeah, it looks fine to me. I thought in order to make this feature a little bit more, enticing, appealing,
engaging.
Yeah, I thought I'll go out and I'll take some photos with it and I'll talk people through, the process of what I'm thinking, working out the exposure. I didn't need to do all of that, but I did it because of the YouTube show, obviously. So
okay, well, thank you, Tysonator, for that. Roger was in touch. He says, not sure whether this is brave or pointless, but full marks for having a go and good luck with the enterprise. One thing, though, is that, as you said, it's a cheap way of getting into photography, but there is always the danger of buying something duff or rubbish, which could set you back and ruin the whole plan. And I don't want
set you back a whole £12. Wow.
And I don't want Ruth, James, Nick and Harry to miss out on a slap-up meal. Yeah. So I appreciate that, Roger and James. Doesn't look like he appreciates it, but I'm sure he does. I think James is thinking he's going to miss out anyway on the slap-up meal, seeing that he's at the other end of the
yeah,
country.
he could do a Deliveroo.
Yes. The rest of us.
I've had far too many meals with Marcus in my lifetime. Thank you very much. I really don't need another one.
All right, well, fair enough. Anyway, we appreciate your feedback. Do keep it coming. Comment or email podcast@mc2photography.com. Let's move on and have a wee look at some stuff.
It may be new. It may even be exciting. But does the world really need it?
Right, it's both new and, in my eyes, exciting, Marcus, because this seems to be the item to beat all items, the jacket to beat all jackets. It can do everything short of fly to the moon. Although, I don't know, it does look rather spacesuit-like. Tell us all about this wonder item.
Yeah, so this is, I'm not quite sure how to pronounce this. It's either Hawkland or Hauckland. It's the Parker Pro Outdoor Photographer's Jacket. Now, I put emphasis on outdoor then because, James, I reckon we should design an indoor photographer's jacket.
Oh, like an old-fashioned smoking jacket.
Exactly.
That sort of thing.
Exactly.
Oh, I'd be good in one. One with the memory little slot instead of your tobacco, your pipe for your memory card, and then another. Oh, I like that with a little bit of paisley lining. I'm into this.
Yeah, paisley lining, but the outside of the jacket would have to be 18% grey, so you could use yourself as a test card.
But velvet.
Yeah. I mean,
I like that.
Yeah.
So you could, 18% grey on the outside, inside, when you just undo a button or two. Sorry to tease the listeners, but you undo a button or two, and then boom, there's a little bit of silk paisley lining. Oh, indoor photography jacket.
Right. So back to the outdoor photography jacket. Okay. This is marketed as a 7-in-1 jacket.
I mean, come on.
7-in-1. Yeah, okay. It doesn't actually say what the 7 things are, but...
Has it got 7 buttons on the front?
No. So it consists of 3 layers, which can be worn in 7 different ways, but it doesn't say which different ways they are. So maybe like inside out would be one. I don't know. Upside down would be another one.
So what's the first layer? What's layer number 1?
Okay, so you got a fleece.
Right.
Okay.
I've got one of those.
As your base layer. Yep. And then your next layer is kind of like a padded down jacket, like a thermal layer.
Yeah, I've got one of those.
And then your top layer is your kind of waterproof, windproof, anything proof, like full on thing. So
I've got one of those.
So it's 3, but I don't understand how wearing a combination of those gets you to 7.
Well, you could wear 3 separately, that's 3. Then you could wear the fleece and the mid layer together, that's 4. Then you could wear the mid layer and the top one together. That's 5.
Yeah. Keep going.
You could wear all 3 together. That's 6.
Ruth's running out of fingers, listeners.
I've got it. Or you wear none of them. That's 7. Yes. So, moving on, it has a total of 29 pockets. Now, they're saying this as a marketing, figure. But
where's your lens cap? Where's your lens cap?
Good luck finding your lens cap in that lot. The last thing I would want is 29 pockets. I'm happy with 4, and even then I lose my lens cap. And on the subject of losing your lens cap, this is a piece of advice I've given people for years and years and years, and it's never ever failed me. When you got someone sort of doing the pat down, and they're going, oh, hang on, I can't find my lens cap. I say, what? Stop. Look in the last pocket that you're going to check, and that's where it will be, and it's always there. Always there. So, but with 29 pockets, it's quite difficult to know what would be the last pocket you're going to look in. You know, you might have to narrow it down to the last 10 or something, and just think, well, I've still got 10 to check. So, but anyway, it has some unique photography features, apparently.
Tell me more.
Well, I don't know, because it doesn't say what they are.
Oh.
It just says it has some specific...
This sounds like a setup, but it's not. Generally was going, tell me what they are.
In the marketing points, it's got where it's 7 ways. It's got 29 pockets, and it's got some special photography features, but it doesn't say what they are. So we just have to take it for gospel that it is pretty good with the features on photography. But it's bright red, so it's not 18% grey. So they haven't got that idea from us. Now, it's endorsed by a Dutch photographer under the name of Albert Dross. Now, Albert Dross, he's got his signature on there, which...
What, is it actually written on the jacket, like in a Sharpie?
I think so, yeah, because it's a signature edition. And on
the inner jacket is on a red patch especially for it, and then it's written in white on the inside, so you can kind of wheek it open and go, look... Yes. This is by Albert Dross.
Now, if you don't know who Albert Dross is, I didn't know who he was until somebody recently suggested that we get him on the podcast and do an interview with him. And then I researched him and then I found out who he was. But I never heard of him before that. But he's a landscape photographer. And although he is from the Netherlands, all the promotional photos on the website that I'm looking at for this jacket at the moment, not his website, but the promotional website for the jacket, they're all taken on the Isle of Skye. I recognise all of them being the Isle of Skye, and a couple of them are taken about 3 miles from where I'm sitting right now.
Are you sure it's not you, given that you're a slightly middle-aged man and you wear a red jacket quite a lot?
He's not a bad-looking guy, but I don't think it is me.
Is he looking for a lens cap?
Oh, do you know what? I've just realised, I was scrolling down the page. The mid layer, which is the padded layer, also has many pockets inside it.
Yes, but I think that's included in the 29 in total.
Yeah, so I thought they were all in one outer jacket.
No. So, that's where your lens cap's going to end up. You're going to be like, how on earth did it end up in there? Because
only an absolute muppet's going to wear a red jacket anyway.
Yes, exactly. So, do you want to know the price of this thing?
£99.
399 euros.
Oh, good job I'm sitting down.
If that was dollars, I reckon that's $500 and it's about £350.
However, it does go up to 4XL, which you're going to need for all those jackets and lens caps.
Careful, Ruth. I wonder where you're going to go with that for a minute.
Lens caps and stuff.
Thank you.
But also, what you failed to mention, and is obviously worth every part of €399, it comes with 3 microfiber cloths.
3?
While stocks last.
Yes, but that's only while stocks last. And the reason why I didn't mention that, Ruth, is because I thought if someone's listening to this in 6 months' time, then the stocks have gone, and then they're going to be really disappointed. I
mean, they've missed a trick, because I was chatting to somebody not that long ago who was wearing a photography jacket, and it had a microfiber cloth, but it was sewn into one of the pockets. So
you can't
one end
wash
was
it.
attached. So it means you can't lose it.
Wash
you can't
it
while stocks last.
It probably unclips, James, I would imagine.
Fair enough.
But I mean, one of the things that annoys me, this jacket, to be fair, it looks like a decent jacket that does the job. It's not overly hideous, as red jackets go. But they're doing this thing, which is the same thing that this other person had. It's a one size fits all regular fit jacket. What is up with manufacturers making specific photography related gear and just doing it for dudes. I mean, they say it's for everyone. It's not for everyone. It's for guys, and women can just deal with it.
So if we put you in that jacket, Ruth, we'd have to put you in there with a couple of tracker bars and a litre of water, because it would take you quite a while to find your way out, wouldn't it?
It's just the fact that they're forever. It's like all these niche photography type items. They're always just.
What, they're assuming that everyone is middle-aged, slightly on the larger side, double XL.
Yeah, and if a girl wants it, well, it'll fit you because, it will make them big enough that everyone will fit in it. But it's like maybe there's the market doesn't exist. Or maybe there is a company out there that does do it.
But Ruth, on the upside, do you own a fleece?
I do.
Yeah, excellent. Do you own a kind of puffery mid-layery kind of thing? Yes, you do.
I do.
Do you have a waterproof jacket?
I do.
I've just saved you nearly £400.
Yes, and
you are welcome.
There is the crux of the issue here, is that you don't need a photography related jacket to go and take good photos. I mean, what are they going to have next? Like photography boots or something?
I mean, I think the main selling point of this is actually it's not the 7-in-1 malarkey. It's got fat pockets on the outside, like these big square ones that puff out a little bit.
Yeah, but I have for country pursuits. I have coats like that anyway.
Exactly, and they're useful, aren't they? You keep cheese, among other things, in them.
I have pocket meat and pocket cheese, as you well know.
You do, but lenses, they're fat enough, and this is why this other person was wearing it.
Ruth, okay, what's going to happen here is you're just going to fill up all the pockets with gadgets and what have you, and that jacket's going to weigh about 50 kilos.
That's true.
Simple as that.
But going onto planes, you always talk about stuff things in your pockets going onto planes.
Yeah, but then it's not a photographer's jacket, is it? It's a plane flying jacket.
And then you'll lose something, you'll lose a lens. So I remember in one of my field jackets, as it were, that I sometimes wear, I found a rabbit that I'd left in the pocket about 9 months later. That took a bit of washing. Right.
Anyway, Ruth, this is definitely get us a wah. This is nonsense, really.
Are you serious? There's a wah. It's not even an almost. No. James, what do you reckon? This is a democracy.
I do think, with a bit more thought, there could be a jacket designed for photographers in mind, but this is going down the wrong route. This is not the right route to go down.
If someone turned up on a workshop in one of these jackets and I knew nothing about them...
You probably wouldn't know, to be fair. It's quite...
Until they remove their top layer to their mid layer and it says Dross written on it.
No, if someone...
Right,
She's cutting us off.
Can I finish my sentence? Yeah, if someone turned up for a workshop in one of these jackets, my immediate impression of them would be they clearly can't take a good photo. No, because they haven't got their priorities right. They're not. If you're spending that much money on a jacket,
can you fade him at this point, Ruth?
I was going to say, we'll fade you off. I mean, most of our waterproof jackets cost about this amount of money, to be fair. People that, climb hills and mountains, they'll spend money on their gear. If it's truly, really waterproof and all that.
Very quick story here, Ruth, because it's related, okay? About 10 years ago, I was hired as an extra for a film shoot, which was happening here on Sky.
Lord of the Rings, it was.
It was horrendous weather. It was actually a Keanu Reeves film called...
the samurai one.
Yeah, what was it called? 47 Ronin or something?
Something like that. That's the one, yeah.
Anyway, we're all out, okay, and there's about 40 of us, and we've just been hired to basically just lift equipment and carry it from here to here and from here to here.
Oh, so you weren't on camera?
No.
That's not
an extra. You said you were hired as an extra. I imagined you sort of, fighting against Keanu.
Sorry to disappoint you.
So you were just carrying his cup of tea.
Yeah, okay. So
that's a dog's body. There's a distinct difference.
All right, so I was hired as a dog's body, okay, and there were about 40 of us, okay, and we were all dressed head to toe in the latest, all singing, all dancing, waterproof gear. Okay.
That you'd bought yourself, that was purchased for you?
No. Just basically, they got a hold of a load of mountain rescue people who, weren't busy on those particular days, said, we'll pay you a couple of £100 to come and move some sandbags and tripods around. So we're all there. It was sideways rain, torrential, rain all day long. And by the end of the day, we were all drowned rats. There's no such thing as a waterproof jacket, except for one person. And that was the director of photography. What was he wearing?
Tweed.
Correct. And it was amazing because the water was just beading off of him. And at the end of the day, he was bone dry. And the rest of us looked like we'd been done 40 lengths in an Olympic swimming pool.
All right. Well, James, in that case, is winning in life because James is the only one among us, I think, that wears tweed. Although Harry bought a tweed jacket not that long ago.
The way to go, Ruth, is natural fibres. Forget all this synthetic malarkey. It doesn't work, okay? It works when it's new. It's like when you first put it on, it's going to keep you dry. 4 months later, it's going to be like a sponge. They're all the same.
Yeah, you need a tweed gilet. You need +4, so by the time you got your garter around the top, the water runs out the side and over the top of your wellies. That's the way to go.
Yeah,
tweed. Head
I
to foot.
agree.
Right, well, I've started with head. I've got a hat.
Oh, yeah. You're welcome, by the way.
Work our way towards the feet.
Always start with the head. Right.
Exactly, the most important part, closest to the rain. Okay, next item we've got, James, is very much different to... how did we get onto tweed? Anyway, tell us all about this next bit of gear. Is it a useful item, James, first of all?
So we have a dongle, Ruth. And you know how much I like a dongle. Or I like peripheral bits of kit. God damn, I can't think of anything worse. But anyway, I will tell you all about it. Tamron, the lens and camera manufacturer, or predominantly lens manufacturer, have made what they call the Tamron Link dongle. And it lets you customise and control your lens on your iPhone. So what I'm not going to do is list every camera or lens that it fits onto, and every mount, and every
there's just a lot of them.
There's a lot, and there's a lot that it works on and a lot that it doesn't work on. But principally, if you shoot video on your DSLR, or mainly on your mirrorless camera now, it will allow things like focus fixing and focus pulling. Fine, that's all good, that's all great, and you can control that and set the parameters for it via the app on your phone. If you shoot stills, when I was thinking about it, I was thinking this is pointless, but actually there are a couple of scenarios I could think of. Maybe you're shooting a time lapse where you want to shift focus from, say, the front of a scene to the back of a scene during a time lapse. So although you'd be shooting stills, you would then put it into a time lapse. So you could have the focus point move, and it would have some useful applications if you're shooting astro and things like that. So basically, it's a little bit of plastic with a USB-C thing that plugs into your Tamron lens that's compatible with it. You then connect it up to an app on your phone, and you can set it to do all these different things. It costs 50 quid, $50 US, I should say. I keep saying quid instead of $50 US, although at the time of broadcast it will be about like for like probably. So that's about it. It's a dongle, it plugs into your lens. If you've got a specific use for it, it's probably a good thing. If you don't, I can't see why you would bother having it in your kit bag at all, really.
Do any other camera manufacturers do this? I mean, is it a tool that's actually useful?
No, this is the first time I've heard of this concept, and I can't see anything wrong with it, because it's only going to be bought by people who have got a use for it.
It's not expensive either.
It's not expensive, and if you don't have a use for it, don't buy it. As simple as that. But
exactly.
As far as I know, and I could be wrong here, but as far as I know, I've never heard of another lens manufacturer doing this. So I think that's a novel and innovative idea, and I wouldn't have a bad word to say about it, Ruth.
Blimey. All right, well, there we go.
Yeah, neither do I. So, yeah, there you go. Fanfares.
Happy days, unexpected days at the same time. All right, well, let's leave the Tamron lens dongle there. There are going to be, of course, links to all of these gear items in the show notes, so check those out. Marcus, this is one that you sent me, and I've seen floating around the social sphere, shall we call it, in the last couple of months. What's this all about?
Yep, so this is the retro DMF photography kit for the iPhone 15 and 16. And basically, it consists of a back plate, a top plate, a bottom plate, which kind of click around your phone, and it turns it into a kind of like a retro style camera. So the way they're marketing it is it's like an alternative to a case. So it protects the phone, but at the same time, it turns your phone into a more kind of manageable kind of retro style camera. Now you can, once you've got this thing attached to your camera, this case around your camera, you can then attach filters, lenses to the front, and you can have a grip on the front as well, so you got something to kind of your fingers to curl around. It kind of simulates the feel of a traditional camera. Now that's really where the positives end, because anyone who's listening to this, I urge you to go to the website, or their website, where we'll leave a link in the show notes, and look at the video, because the video anything with overly dramatic music turns me off immediately. And the music on this sounds like the world is about to end. I mean,
what about overly dramatic voiceover man?
Yeah, that'll do it as well. But anything. So what we've got here is we've got overly dramatic music, okay? We've got overly dramatic text, and I'm going to read some of that out in a minute just to give you an idea. And when you actually pick the bones out of it, it doesn't actually say anything. It doesn't actually do anything, this thing. It's not innovative, it's not novel. It's just the same old boring stuff that has been out, many times before.
It looks cool, I got to say.
Yeah, it does look cool, but, okay, if you scroll down, Ruth, can you find the photo where they've got kind of like what would be termed as a telephoto lens attached? So you got the camera and you got this huge lens coming off of it.
Oh,
right, okay.
Yeah.
Right.
That's like a proper lens.
So, imagine you're holding that and your phone goes. What do you do?
It's on the other side.
I know, but it's like you'd have this big lens sticking out of your ear. The conclusion of this, right, is that you can't have something that acts as a phone and a camera. Just treat them as two different things, okay? You either have a phone which takes pictures and it's a bad experience, or you have a camera that takes pictures and it's a good experience, but you can't make a phone call on it. You can't have both together. It doesn't matter how hard people try, ain't going to happen, so stop trying is my suggestion. But let's go back to this. I want to read you some, and this is quoted from the website. Okay? I want to read you some stuff here. Retro DMF adheres to the design concept of retro aesthetics of mobile phone imaging. It is willing to interpret mobile phone imaging with retro beauty, accompanying you to freeze the beauty of life, weave a photo album of time, and invite you to embark on this unique journey of imaging aesthetics.
A photo album of time?
Yes.
Time? Dude, I want a photo album of time. I want a photo album of time.
Right.
Then I can go back in time.
Let me go on. This mobile phone case is meticulously crafted with an arc close to that of a camera, conforming to the body curve of the iPhone 16 series. It is just like a tailor-made photography companion. When held in your hand, it feels so natural. Not only do you like the
way? Oh my God, he's got it. Can you stop now?
Not only
because otherwise you're going to start reading that 50 Shades of Grey or something, and
not only presenting an elegant visual effect, but also bringing you a comfortable and natural operation experience.
Marcus McAdam reads 50 Shades of Grey.
That's a mixture of mistranslation and AI.
All right. Before we move on, I've got a little quiz here for you, okay? See who can get the closest. I'm going to start the next sentence, and I want you two to tell me how you think it might end, okay?
Go on,
here's the sentence. It's not just a protective case for mobile phones, but also... Ruth, what's your suggestion there, Ruth?
It makes you look like a Leica user.
No. The correct answer... was it's not just a protective case for mobile phones, but also a symbol of an attitude towards life.
Yes.
There we go. How's that for a marketing sentence?
Well, it can control time, and I want one if it can control time.
Listen, this is utter nonsense, okay? It's going to cost you $249 currently.
And it's made by who's it made by? Run DMC or something?
No, Retro DMF. They came after Run DMC. It's currently on sale for $199, but normally it's $249. It's utter nonsense. Please do not buy this product. You're just give us the money. If you're going to buy this, give us the money and save yourself the hassle. Thank you.
Yeah, there we go. It looks really cool, but as Marcus said, a lot of fluff around it. Check it out for yourself if you want to see the super impressive voiceover, the camera work. The graphics are actually excellent, but it's a very expensive piece of kit. So have a wee look at that. This is exciting though, James, and we've seen this again doing the rounds on the photography news websites. Rick also sent me an email just pointing this out as well. This is quite exciting concept from a manufacturer we didn't expect. Tell us what it is and why is it exciting?
Well, there's not a lot to tell you at the moment because you used the word concept, which is precisely what it is. But to expand a touch further, Canon have decided to bring out a concept camera with a waist level viewfinder. It does actually have an LCD on the back. So for sort of, I don't know, people that grew up using waist level viewfinders like I did, this is actually really exciting. And I does hope it comes to fruition, although I have to be honest, Ruth, I don't think it will. I think this is just a bit of PR-y spin from Canon. But you never know, it might do. Further information is not really readily available at the moment. I mean, it was shown off in Japan at the CP Plus show. People had a go with it. People used it. It's, you know, most interestingly, actually, Digital Camera World, who ran an article about it, also ran alongside that a poll of which it said that 40% of readers are interested and 30% are maybe, with just a very small percentage saying it's just a gimmick. But that gives me a little bit of hope that it will come to some form of fruition in the future, that I do believe there would be a market for it. But right now, it's kind of slightly irrelevant as to any statistics or stats to do with it until they actually make one and sell one.
What does it look like, James? Because it looks, I mean, to me it looks like the old-fashioned, well, the old Mamias, things like that. It's like a little box camera, very unlike anything Canon's ever released. Hold it in your hand, look down, and they've got two different versions they've tried, and one of them looks pretty cool.
Well, two different versions, but the reason I'm not really going into detail about focusing or lack of and things like that to do with it is that they are both concept cameras. So,
but people are going to buy these on looks. Let's be blunt. That's why people are going to buy them. They look amazing.
Well, I hope that Canon do, as you know, the one, if I could have one thing in the photographic world, it would be a true medium format camera. I don't care who makes it, but it's a proper 6x6, you know, medium format camera.
You mean a digital camera?
Yeah, digital camera. Yeah, of course. And because of just, you know, and then and proper glass to go with that. But I very much doubt anyone will get around to making it, because I don't think the market will be there to justify the development, the R&D, and then the manufacture. Especially, it's more to do with the actual sensor, you know, which I don't think would be too big a deal. But then, if you increase the size of the sensor, you've then got to re-engineer and rebuild loads and loads of lenses to go with it. So I very much doubt anyone will get around to it. But if I'd walked past and been in Japan and walked past this, it sure would have caught my eye. But that's about all, because I don't want to fall into the trap of being suckered into and giving too much thought to something that at this stage is just a concept. But fingers crossed, you never know.
It does look cool. Marcus, have you had a wee look at this?
I have, yeah. You know, I love a waist level viewfinder, as you know. So it would certainly be of appeal. But having already owned, or, you know, in my possession, several waist level viewfinders, I don't know what it would be good for other photographers who have entered the photography era since, I don't know, the 2000s. Maybe don't know about some of these old film cameras that had waist level viewfinders, to try a different way of taking photos, because you know, up until the phone became the most popular camera to take photos of, the way to take a photo was to put the camera to your eye. Now, of course, everyone holds the camera out at arm's length, which frustrates James no end, and they use the LCD screen, because that's how we're all in the habit of taking photos with our phones now. But I think if there was a popular camera that was mass marketed with a waist level viewfinder, it would give people a third option to, you know, to compose their photos. And I think we're all in agreement that it is the best way to compose a photo, because it just gives you that unfamiliar viewpoint of the world. You know, you start
from an unfamiliar viewpoint. That's the thing. Your starting point is an unfamiliar viewpoint with a waist level viewfinder.
Yes, but you can't use a waist level viewfinder at eye level, and because unless you stand on a bench or something, you know. So
one of the things I've heard many people say who use waist level viewfinders is the good thing is the eye contact you can maintain with your subject, and that helps as well, rather than having something between you and your subject at the eye.
Yeah. So obviously you're talking about photographing people there, but even for landscapes, they're still useful.
Yeah, they are.
Okay. Well, I'm not sure if it's fair to ask for a hit miss or almost on this one, because it is a concept. It's not quite out yet. I mean, okay, let's pretend it's out. Let's pretend it's real. What would you reckon, hit, miss, or fail on the idea of it?
I'd give it a hit.
In its current iteration, I would actually give it a miss. But so, have we got an in between?
We've got an in between. So it sounds like a happy one. but not quite.
Fell at the last hurdle.
You guys can have a wee look and see what you think. Like I said, there's two versions of this concept. One looks like a bit of a 3D printer. The other one looks quite cool, in my opinion. So have a wee look at that for yourself in the show notes. Final item for our gear section this month, Marcus, is also got the word ultimate in its title. What is this?
The ultimate lens holder got even better is the title.
Ooh, I mean, even better. Wow.
Yeah. So, I mean, how can you improve on ultimate? Is that physically possible?
Well, honestly, this is such a British podcast. Just start from cynicism. Ultimate's got even better with such droll delivery from all three of us.
Now, this
fair.
is a product that is trusted apparently by over 15,000 photographers. So they're not doing badly if they've sold 15,000 of these things. But anyway, what it is if you imagine a kind of rotatable wheel which has got lens mounts on the outside of it. So it's like a carousel, and you can put 3 lenses on it and then like spin it around so that the lens you want is always at the top, okay? And then you can uncouple that lens from the holder, put it on your camera. So I guess the idea here is that you're working with 3 lenses or up to 3 lenses, and you have 1 lens on your camera and 2 lenses on the holder. And then if you want to change lenses, you with one hand, you uncouple the lens from the camera, couple it onto the holder, spin round to the lens that you want, uncouple that and put it back onto the camera. Now, because there's 3 holder bays, as it were, on this thing, I think the temptation would be to have 4 lenses, so 1 on your camera and then 3 on this thing, and then you're back to square one again, because you take the lens off your camera, have it in a hand, and then you've got no hand to uncouple the other one with, so you're back to using 2 hands again. So I can see this being useful in some scenarios. So wedding photographers, for example, someone who has to change lenses quite often and rapidly. That's the key thing here, rapidly. But for me, I think you'd easily lose track of which lens was which, because as this thing spins round, you'd be thinking, well, hang on a minute, where did I just put my 35mm? Was that at the bottom or was it at the top?
If it's hanging on your body, it's not going to be spinning very much, though, is it? You could have, if you're a wedding photographer, 2 camera bodies and then another thing with 3 lenses hanging off.
Unless you're getting married and your wedding photographer that you've booked is called Clint Eastwood.
Yeah, this is like the quick draw of lens, thing. But anyway, this holder will clip to your belt, so you could wear it on your hip, or you can wear it on a kind of like a shoulder strap of a bag or something. So it's kind of like on your chest. I'm not going to say it's useless, because it's not, but I think
I'm sorry, Marcus, there's no way in 100 million years that you would put 3 lenses on that are possibly worth £2,000 each. So you're walking around with £6,000 clipped to your belt on a flimsy piece of plastic.
But James, where you're wrong,
not in a million years. When the other option is to have 2 pouches on your belt, drop-in pouches that are soft-lined.
Or 1 on each side. That is quick draw.
That is quick draw. So you could have 1 on each side. Think Tank make them, for example. They're soft-lined. You don't have to have lens caps, back caps, anything. There is no way you would walk around with this, with all that glass just floating about the place waiting to drop off. No
There's
way.
15,000 plus photographers, James, that are telling you that you're wrong, because it says so on the screen here.
And there's 3 mainstream manufacturers and many secondary manufacturers who'd be applauding this. Because there'd be a lot of photographers having to buy new lenses, I would imagine. But there's a really interesting quote at the end of it, and it says, from Mr. S.R. Key, it says, as a professional in the field photographer, different lenses are for different shots. So that's very insightful. Thank you. I can change lessons on the fly, one-handed. No table required with this system. So until he got this system, he'd been taking a table everywhere.
Maybe it's one of these bags that we mentioned recently that converts into a table.
No table needed. That's what he said. So I think he's had a couple of assistants with him, and he's been taking his dining table everywhere he's been shooting.
No, personally, I would prefer to have a bag and put a lens in its own designated little space, so that when you reach down for that lens, you know what it is. Whereas this thing's rotating all the time, so you can't possibly keep track of where each lens is.
I don't think that's the issue. The issue is that it's just not safe.
No,
imagine just walking around holding your lens by the back cap only all the time.
Yes, no, I'm not going to argue that. And also, having your lenses either on your hip or on your chest, you're going to bump into a door or someone's going to knock you or what have you. I mean, it is a disaster.
Yeah, exactly. So Mr. SR Key is correct. Take a table.
Yeah, it's a disaster waiting to happen. I do agree on that. But the concept, I think, is a little bit flawed. But if I was shooting weddings and I wanted say like a 24mm prime, a 35 and a 50 prime, then you could imagine those just like on a carousel on your hip, and you could spin it round and go whoo, like a bit like when people put a bullet in a gun and spin it round to look cool. You'd spin your lenses round, you'd grab one and put it on, but you'd lose track because they all look the same. A 50, a 35 and a 24, they're all roughly the same length. You'd be like spinning it around going, hang on a minute, which one's this? And by the time...
I can see you doing this for your next elopement shoot, Marcus.
Yeah, no. I need to keep track of my lenses. But anyway, if this does interest you, it costs £135, which is about $160 or 130, 40, 50, 60 euros. It comes in all Canon and Nikon mounts, as well as Sony, L mount, Fuji X, and Pentax K, if anybody uses that anymore.
Thank you for listing them.
Yes. So there you go. It's I think we've got to give this a miss, Ruth.
A miss? I was kind of getting that vibe, all right. Yeah,
okay. I can't see.
15,000 people are wrong. Again, check it out because, if you didn't know better, like the guys obviously think they do, it does look quite cool. They all look cool, this is the problem. But there are links in the show notes to that and to everything else we've been talking about in the gear section and in our news section as well. It is about time to wrap up this podcast. But just before we do, we need to find out from Marcus where he was. He was out using his Kingjoy C86 XT tripod. I know you do, but we're going to let him do it first. He dropped a few clues for you, and obviously they worked for James. So, Marcus, where were you?
Hey Ruth, so the clues were that I'm standing in an elevated position looking down on one of the busiest cities in the world, which is situated on a natural harbour. The most popular way to get here is by tram, which you would pay for in dollars. Now, as I mentioned, I was several hours ahead of you in the UK, so that means I'm somewhere in the east and I'm on a very British sounding hill. I'm actually on a very quiet pedestrian lane called Luggard Road, but as I said, nobody really knows about that, so don't tell anyone, okay? Because this place offers what I think is probably the best view of the city. So, shh. So I am standing on Victoria Peak, or at least part of it, overlooking the bustling city of Hong Kong. Well done if you got that right. Right, it's now far too dark to continue taking photos, so I'm going to pack up this monster of a tripod and take it back just over there to the Kingjoy HQ from where I borrowed it, as I didn't fancy lugging this thing halfway around the world. See you later.
There you go. James got very excited at the beginning of that and about halfway through as well. You knew that, did you, James?
I knew it was Victoria something, because it was named... yes, I did. No, and he's overlooking Kowloon Bay. I thought he was going to say Kowloon Bay as opposed to Hong Kong, but Hong Kong's off the back of Kowloon Bay anyway. So. Okay,
so there you go. If you'd like to see the picture that Marcus took of Victoria Peak in Hong Kong, do check out the link in the notes. We will be hearing from another team member on location with their tripod next month. Talking of next month and talking of what Marcus was just talking about as well, actually, one of the shows we've got coming up on the YouTube channel in April is going to be a Kingjoy tripod factory tour, which is very exciting. We gave a little preview to some of our official supporters on our live show last month, but a lot more on that coming up. It looks fascinating. We're going to be doing a bag review as well. That video will be coming out in April at some point. So there you go, that's some stuff you can look forward to. We will be back, of course, on the podcast next month, as usual. Until then, chaps, thank you for that. And James, congrats on your win and all the rest of it. I'll be opening the spreadsheet and updating that any moment now. Until then, take good care, guys. But most of all, take good photos.
You've been listening to the Photography Online podcast in partnership with Kingjoy Tripods.